Alright, so this is another video where we will revise the genre of the story, and we'll discuss a little bit about the genre and the anchor chart, okay? And we will read today's story. Alright, so today we talked about the genre. Last week we took realistic fiction, and we said that a realistic fiction, the word fiction means that the story is not real or made up. So, realistic fiction. The word fiction means the story is not real, or I can say the story is made up. That means the person who wrote the story made the story in his head and then he wrote it down. Okay, then what's the meaning of realistic? Realistic means the events or the things that happen in the story can happen in real life or seem like it's real. Okay? Alright, let's go ahead and read what is said here. It says here, realistic fiction. Realistic fiction has a setting. Okay, we've been talking about the word setting for 2 weeks now. The word setting means the place of where it happens in the story and the time. Okay? The setting is when and where a story happens. It can be real or seems real. Alright? So in a realistic fiction, the story has characters. Let's remember what characters. Characters are the people that are in the story. What about the setting? The setting is the place of the story and when the story happened. Does it happen during the day? Does it happen at night? Okay? And sometimes the setting can be real or almost real or can seem real. Okay? Like for example, this is a picture of a neighborhood and the story that we read today about Henry. He lived also in a neighborhood, and while he was riding his bike, he saw many things. Okay, which is almost the same like what we see in our life. Okay? So again, a realistic fiction is a story that is not real. It has characters and it has a setting. Okay? So we know now what is the meaning of characters and setting. I hope so. Alright, let's look at our anchor chart. Okay, the anchor chart here talks about the setting. The setting is where and when a story takes place. Okay, in a realistic fiction, the places are real or seem real. Okay, it can be in Dallas. Dallas is the name of a city, farm, a school. Okay, today in our story, when we read, the setting of a story was on the street, in Henry's neighborhood or in Henry's block. The time is real or seems real. Remember, the setting is where or when a story takes place. So, did the story happen in the morning or did it happen at night? Okay. These are the vocabulary words that I mentioned in our other video. Okay. Let's look at the cover. Here today, when we looked at the cover, what did we do? We said that every story has a title or title. Okay, what is the title of the story? Henry on Wheels. So if I ask you, what is the title of the story? You will tell me the name of the story. Okay, we also mentioned this during last week and this week. If I say by, and then you see this is the author's name. The author is the person who wrote the story. Alright? Next, we have illustrated by. Illustrated by Simon Abbott. Illustrated means the person who drew the pictures. So, on the cover of the book, you'll see 3 important things. The name or the title of the story, the name of the author, the person who wrote the story, and the illustrator. The illustrator is the person who drew the pictures to help you understand the story better. Okay? As you see here, there's a picture of Henry riding his bike. Okay? Riding means to ride something, to sit and in something and to go from one place to another. Like we can say, we ride the bus, we ride the car. Here, Henry is riding his bike. All right, let's start reading the story. On page 66. Henry has a red bike. Henry loves to ride his bike. He can ride up and down. So here, on page 66, we see that we have two characters. We have Mom and we have Henry. What does Henry have? He has a red bike and he loves to ride his bike. Okay, he can ride up and down. He can ride up and down. That means he rides up and down the street or up and down the block. Henry can ride by himself. I can ride far, Henry says. I want to take a long ride. So here, Henry can ride his bike by himself. He doesn't need his mom to help him. What does he say? He says, I can ride far. Far means he wants to go away a long distance. He wants to go for far. I want to take a long ride. So here, far means he wants to go away from his house. That means he wants to ride his bike and go in a long ride. A long ride means he wants to go on his bike very, very far. Okay? Next. You may go, says Henry's mom. You may go around the block. Boring, says Henry. Okay, so what does Henry's mom say? She said, you can go and ride your bike, but you can go around the block. Remember the word block? Okay, so he can go around his neighborhood. And so around the block means he can go around the 4 streets that surround his neighborhood. But is Henry happy? No, he says it's boring, it's not fun. Page 69. But I will stay in our block. Henry waves to his mom. Then he rides away. Okay, but he listens to his mom. His mom says, you cannot go outside the block. He's not happy. But he listens. He tells his mom, I will stay on our block. Okay? So, and he waves his hand to his mom as he rides away. So he waves his hand goodbye to his mom and he rides away. Henry rides down the street. He rides by a boy on a trike. He rides by a girl skipping rope. So now, what is Henry doing? He's riding his bike. And while he's riding his bike, he sees things. What did he see? He sees a boy on a trike. What is a trike? A trike is like a bicycle or a bike that has 3 wheels. The word tri means 3. He sees a boy riding a trike, a bike that has 3 wheels. What else does he see? He sees a girl skipping a rope. Here, this is a girl skipping a rope. Page 71. Henry rides past a cat. He rides past 2 dogs. So while he's riding, he goes by or he passes a cat and he passes 2 dogs. Henry turns the corner. He sees a line of people. Henry stops to look. Wow, says Henry. So when he reaches the end of the street or the end and he turns to the corner. Remember, corner is when 2 streets they meet. Okay, so when he turns to the corner, he sees some people standing in a line and he's surprised. He says, wow, let's see what they are doing. They are standing in line to buy food. What are they buying? They're buying hot dogs. Okay, 73. Henry rides some more. He sees a man with a shovel. He sees a mixer too. So he continues. He keeps going and riding his bike. After he sees the boy riding a trike and a girl jumping rope and and cats and dogs and people buying food. He sees somebody doing something. He sees a man with a shovel. This is a shovel, and he's putting something inside a mixer. He's putting something inside a machine that will mix something. Okay? They're fixing something on the street. Okay? It says highlight something in the text you have a question about. Okay? So if you're asking yourself, if you see this, you would think, what is the man doing? Okay? Look at the picture. Look at the illustration to see what do you think he would do. He has a shovel. A shovel is like a big spoon where he takes sand or cement and he's putting it inside a machine. And a mixer is a machine that mixes something. So you would think they are doing something to fix on the street. On page 73, Henry stops to watch. The barrel turns. Gravel pours out. So he keeps looking at the man that is with the shovel and the mixer, and he stops to look and watch. The barrel turns and pours out. So the mixer that the man was putting the things in, it starts to turn and it starts to pour. Pour means to come out of it. Like for example, if I say pour a cup of water, that means to take the water and put it in a cup. So now what's in the yellow barrel, he's pouring it or putting it on the ground. Maybe they're fixing or making the sidewalk on the street. Okay? Henry waves goodbye. He rides around a corner. Some big kids ride up. So Henry says goodbye and he continues to ride his bike. Okay? When he goes around the corner, he sees something. He sees some bigger kids riding their bikes too. See? He sees these are other kids that are bigger than Henry, also riding their bike on the block. Nice bike, one kid says. Way to ride, they say. So these big kids tell Henry that he has a nice red bike and he is a good rider. He can ride the bike very well. That he's doing a good job riding the bike. Okay? Henry rides down the street. Henry sees kids swinging. So all of this is everything that's happening in the story is happening on the street or in Henry's block or Henry's neighborhood. Okay? So that is the setting. Where is Henry riding his bike? On the block or on his block, okay, or on the street. Okay? And then we mentioned or we said many things that he saw. Okay? So now he continues. Continue means he keeps riding his bike down the street. So what else does he see? He sees more things. He sees kids swinging. This is a boy swinging in the park. Okay? And he sees other kids sliding. Henry sees kids sliding and playing in the sand. So what does Henry see the kids doing? He sees a boy sliding. He sees a girl swinging. He sees other kids playing in the sand. Henry rides past. He waves but does not stop. So while he's riding, he waves his hand to the kids. But does he stop his bike? No. Okay? All of this is describing, is telling you what Henry sees. Okay? While he's riding. Page 79. Henry hears some noise. Okay? So while he's riding his bike, he hears something with his ears. There's a noise. Okay, a sound. Noise means sound. He looks up the street. More machines, he said. So while he's riding and going up to the front of this, going down the street, he hears something, and then he sees something. What does he see? He sees more machines. Okay, he sees machines, big machines, and that they're making noise. Okay, a bulldozer pushes dirt. This is a machine that pushes dirt. It's called a bulldozer. A dump truck backs up. Okay, this is a big car. It's a truck. Okay, and it throws or dumps things to the back. So here, this is a truck. So, I'm sorry, a bulldozer collects or, how can I say it? Collects the dirt. A dump truck backs up. So, it moves, this truck moves back and it throws everything on the back of the truck. Okay? A backhoe digs. Here is another machine that digs holes in the ground. These are all machines that the men are using, and he sees them, and they're making a lot of noise. Okay? The dump truck drives away. Wow, says Henry. Henry watches a crane. The crane swings around. Men unhook the load. So he sees another big machine. He sees a crane. This is a crane that has a hook. Okay? The hook carries big things. Okay? It carries it, and then when it goes to the ground, it unhooks it so the men can take it and use the things that they are building with. So Henry stops and see what all these machines can do. The dump truck comes back. The backhoe fills it up. What a good day, says Henry. Okay? So Henry continues to watch all the men use all these machines to see what all these machines can do. One can dig, one can fill up, one collects, one can carry things using a hook. So he says, what a good day. He enjoys seeing everything during his bike ride around his block. Okay? Here you have this page for homework, and here we said, what makes the setting realistic? Okay. The question here I was asking, why is this place realistic? Why is it almost real? Okay, so if you go back to the story and look at the illustration and the picture and read the story, you'll see that his neighborhood is like a real neighborhood that we have on our streets, right? You see that our streets are also divided into blocks. We have streets. Sometimes we have people working and using machines to fix the street. Sometimes we see kids playing. Sometimes we see other kids riding the bikes. So the setting here is almost as real as in real life. Number 2, why does the author keep Henry on his block? Okay, there are many answers, but sorry. All right, I apologize for this. I don't know what to do. Okay, it says, why does the author keep Henry in the block? Remember in the story when Henry's mom said, you must stay on the block? Okay, it shows you that Henry's mom was worried about him. She doesn't want him to get lost, and she wants to, and the author wants to describe what the neighborhood is like. Okay, the third question we didn't complete today, but we can discuss it. How is your neighborhood like Henry's neighborhood? Okay, and use text evidence. Text evidence is apart from the story that proves or shows that your answer is correct. Okay, here we can go back and we can write that our neighborhood has buildings, has cars, has people playing on the street, has animals. There is more than one possible answer. Okay? I hope this video was able to help you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.